We have one from this morning, Earl Mitchell. Is Mr. Mitchell present?
Mr. Mitchell's here present, Judge.
We had reset him on the PM docket. Mr. Mitchell is here on a capias with a $1,000 bond from Judge Fishman for possession of drug paraphernalia. And we reset him this afternoon to do what?
Judge, what happened was he was in court. I don't know, I haven't had an opportunity. Judge, the volume is way up, so I don't know if we can lower it a little bit. And somebody's microphone is really loud.
Well, the only person speaking was me.
Here by the state.
Okay, let me ask you, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay. No one else is speaking right now, so I'm not sure what you're hearing, but.
No, well, I'm being told it's the paperwork. So every time people move paperwork, it just.
Okay. Well, we're gonna have to use the papers, but just let us know if you can't hear us, okay?
Okay.
On Mr. Mitchell, have you had a chance to talk with him?
Just on me. So there it goes again. It's. Judge, what I'm being informed is Mr. Mitchell wants to know if he could resolve his case today.
Yes.
No.
Okay, Mr. Mitchell? Do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes.
And what is your name and date of birth?
King Mitchell, 11/17/66.
Mr. Mitchell, it's my understanding you wish to resolve your case today, waive your right to an attorney and a trial. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Is anybody forcing you to do that?
No, they're not.
Are you under the influence of any kind of drugs or alcohol today?
I wish I would. No, I'm not.
And have you ever been treated for a mental illness?
No, sir.
And do you understand you're waiving your right both to a trial and to an attorney?
Yes, I do.
Are you pleading no contest to possession of drug paraphernalia?
Yes, I am.
The court's going to accept your plea, find that it's freely and voluntarily given. The court's going to adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days' time served. I must, by law, order court costs of $293, and we're going to give you a year to pay that to the clerk of court, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Kelly Fitzgerald?
I believe North Broward, Judge.
Oh, okay, thank you. Kelly Fitzgerald, North Broward?
I don't have her present, Your Honor. She could be in the intake processing area. We'll put her on recall.
Okay, we'll put that on recall, thank you. Jennifer Biznitsky?
North Broward, Judge.
Whoop, North Broward.
I don't have her either, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll put her on recall. Nicole Campanelli?
I know they have her.
Ms. Campanelli, good afternoon. You are charged with possession of heroin. Your bond is presently set at $1,000. I have reviewed the probable cause affidavit. I find probable cause. Can you post that bond, ma'am?
$1,000?
$1,000. Could you or your family post it either through a surety or on their own?
I don't know.
With a bondsman, you would have to give the bondsman $100, 10%.
Okay.
Judge, Miss Campanelli has been living here for the last 11 years. She does have family here, including her mother. She has a paycheck for $280 that is currently in her car and was there when she was arrested. She's been in the same line of work for the last 11 years. She has a BA in the medical field from FAU. She has no prior contact with the criminal justice system. She's been living with her mother since July, and I don't think she has anyone who's going to be able to bond her out. She does have a 4-year-old child.
What are you asking for?
I'm going to ask for pretrial release, Your Honor.
Your Honor, she lives in Indian River County.
Oh, she doesn't live here. Okay, that's a problem. Can I put her on pretrial and not in India, but have her live there? Will pretrial take her?
Your Honor, with all due respect to the court, I'll take anyone the court orders me to take.
Well, I mean, does it cause a problem for pretrial?
Only if she fails to, if she fails to comply. We have
This is what I would
arrangements
like
with the
to do.
tri-county area, so
What I would like to do is put it on pretrial
Okay.
standard,
that's fine.
that she be tested, once a week,
Okay,
and that she have a drug evaluation and any treatment they deem necessary.
okay, and she's permitted to travel through the, state of Florida
Yes,
because she's going to reside in Vero Beach.
right.
If the court could have her put her address on the record.
Ms. Campanelli, could you put your present address on the record, please?
4640 Josephine Manor, Southwest, Vero Beach, Florida, 32968.
What is Southwest? It's,
It's SW, I don't know, it's just a street name.
okay.
And she is to report to pretrial in person how often?
She is to, well, she can report by telephone twice a week, and as long as she's being tested once a week for drugs, and that they're clear, she doesn't have to report in person. Do you want her to?
I just want to make sure that I write it clearly on the order so that there are no misconceptions.
Okay.
So if the court will do like we've been doing from this morning, she must report to pretrial in person at least once per month. Is that sufficient for the court?
Ms. Campanelli, is that a problem for you to report to pretrial once a month?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Good luck. Your Honor, the jail now has those, two women that we passed over.
Okay, so let's take, Ms. Kelly Fitzgerald first.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Where are you?
Right here.
North Broward.
North
Oh,
Broward.
okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Ms. Fitzgerald, you are being held on a $1,000 bond for a petty theft. That bond was set by the division judge. And I'm not sure who that was. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Am I allowed to say anything, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am. Just don't talk about the case.
Okay, I won't. I can't make that bond, and I can't make the $1,000 bond. There's no way that I can. Right now, I'm doing my DCF case plan. I'm in compliance with everything that I'm supposed to be doing with them. And the thing that I'm supposed to be, I guess, the case is 8 years old. I had no idea I even had this pending. I had no idea when I got pulled over last night. I literally just got out of the hospital.
This was for a no-show at a violation of probation hearing, Judge.
Who's the judge now, do you know?
I believe it's Judge Solomon. And Your Honor, I can tell you, she was arrested in 2011 for the violation of probation. She bonded out for $500 and she didn't show up to her hearing.
Yeah. Ms. Fitzgerald, you're gonna have to go in front of Judge Solomon, who will review the bond. Thank you. Lloyd Bellamy? No, I'm sorry, not Lloyd Bellamy. Jennifer Basinski? Ms. Basinski, you're here on a violation of probation felony warrant. You're being held no bond by Judge Siegel. You're scheduled to see Judge Siegel on October 26th at 3 p.m.
26 at 3 p.m.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, correct. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay,
All right.
26 at 3 p.m.
Lloyd Bellamy?
Conti?
Mr. Bellamy, you are here on a $100 bond on a capias issued by Judge Backman for panhandling. Can you make that bond, sir?
No, I can't.
He has nothing else holding him, Judge.
I understand. Mr. Bellamy, do you want to resolve the case?
Yes, I would.
I just want to make sure that I get, okay. Do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name and date of birth.
Bellamy, 72462.
Mr. Bellamy, it's my understanding you wish to resolve this case today, waive your right to an attorney in the trial, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Is anybody forcing you to do this?
No,
Are you under the influence of any kind of drugs or alcohol today?
no, I'm not.
Ever been treated for a mental illness?
No, I haven't.
And are you pleading no contest to a violation of the City of Hollywood's municipal ordinance entitled aggressive panhandling in case number 17003722 MO40A?
Yes, I am.
Court's going to accept your plea, find that it's freely and voluntarily given. The court's going to adjudicate you guilty. Order court costs of $100, and I'm going to give you 6 months to pay that, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sterling Sharp?
Sharp, it's your present, Judge, at Maine?
Mr. Sharp, you're being held on a $100 bond for resisting or obstructing without violence on fine probable cause. You're also being held on an out-of-county hold from Dade County. The bond is $10,000.
Judge, considering it as a $10,000 bond and it's from Dade County, would you consider an RO on count one so Dade County can come and pick him up rather than him waiting around 30 days for the state to file on this on count one?
Doesn't necessarily take 30 days, but
Any objection?
no,
Okay.
Judge.
I'm going to grant that. I'm going to ROR him on the resisting.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
But we don't know when, but they're gonna come and pick you up.
Wesley McCool? Wesley McCool?
Mr. McCool? Judge, he's approaching, he advised me he's gonna self-file.
Okay, Mr. McCool, you are being held on a $500 bond for driving under the influence of alcohol and/or drugs to the extent your normal faculties are impaired. I do find probable cause. Thank you, sir.
Good luck, sir.
Paul Beto?
Mr. Beto? He's approaching, Judge, he advised me his wife is gonna be posting his bond.
Okay, Mr. Beto, you're being held on a $250 capias for driving while license suspended and a $250 capias on failing to register a vehicle. Okay, sir?
Good luck, sir.
Thank you. Jerome Vaughn.
Mr. Vaughn?
Mr. Vaughn, you're being held no bond on a violation of probation, and you're scheduled to be set in division for review. I think it's Judge McHugh is the judge. Thank you, sir. George, is it Becker?
Bond posted.
I've been advised he,
That's what I
bonded,
just
Judge.
said.
He did what?
He bonded, I've been
Bonded.
advised.
Thank you. Fred Burke?
I've been advised this is a medical reset.
Okay. Selwyn Toby? Mr. Mr. Toby, you're being held no bond on a robbery with a firearm. That is a first-degree punishable by life. I find the proof evident after reading the probable cause affidavit. Your bond is going to remain no bond until you go before the division judge. And you're being held resisting or obstructing without violence. And I'm gonna set a $100 bond on that count.
And the defense would object to the court finding proof evident presumption great based on a probable cause affidavit introduced by the state. Proof evident presumption great is the highest legal standard that we have, higher even than proof beyond a reasonable doubt. The state has introduced no evidence, they've called no witnesses, and while case law does hold that the court can find proof evident presumption great based on a probable cause affidavit, we would submit that this probable cause affidavit is insufficient for that finding. We would ask you to set a bond for Mr. Toby.
Okay, the motion is denied. Daenerys Flowers?
Mr. Flowers is approaching, Judge, he declined the service.
Okay, and yes, ma'am, can I help you?
Hi, I'm the sister of the defense, and this is the girlfriend of the defense of
Okay.
Denari's Flowers.
And could you state your name?
My name is Katrina Walden.
Okay, and ma'am?
She's trailing.
Okay, thank you for coming. Mr. Flowers, you are also being held no bond on a robbery with a firearm. I have reviewed the probable cause affidavit. I find that proof is evident. You're to remain on no bond until you go before the division judge. You're also charged with resisting or obstructing without violence. Your bond is $100. I find probable cause. And you're also being charged with fleeing and eluding of law enforcement officers. Your bond is $2,500. I find probable cause.
Is there any way, Judge, you could set a bond?
Not at this time, no ma'am.
Is no way that he's eligible for pretrial release? He have a job that he's...
No ma'am. Not with robbery and a firearm. Thank you very much. Jordan Clark?
Mr. Clark, it's your present, Judge.
Mr. Clark, you are charged with possession with intent to sell, manufacture, or deliver cannabis. Your bond is $1,000. I've reviewed the probable cause affidavit. I find probable cause. And also, you're charged with possession of cannabis over 20 grams. Your bond is $1,000.
Your Honor, I
Yes.
just want to advise the court, Mr. Clark is currently out on bond for aggravated battery with a deadly weapon.
And Your Honor, just so that you know, it also appears that Mr. Clark has posted bond on count 1 only at this time.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
That's all, Judge.
Okay, thank you. Manuel Descanseco?
He's a pro se judge, he declined services public defender.
Mr. Diaz Canseco, you are being charged with driving while license revoked as an habitual traffic offender. Your bond is set at $750. I find probable cause. Thank you, sir. Wold Lubin? Mr. Lubin, you're charged with grand theft auto. Your bond is set at $1,000. I reviewed the probable cause affidavit. I find probable cause.
Judge, I'm Mr. Lubin. We're gonna be asking the court to sign a photo order allowing our office to take photographs of Mr. Lubin.
That's granted.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lubin. Juan David Duarte Gonzalez?
I've been advised North Broward, Judge.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you?
I'm alright, how are you?
Good, thank you. Mr. Gonzalez, you are charged with one count of possession of cannabis over 20 grams. I find probable cause. Your bond is $1,000. You're also charged in a second count, possession with intent to sell, manufacture, or deliver a drug. State, I could not find probable cause for that count.
Your Honor, I would argue that 239 grams is not really an amount for personal use. And I
No, but
understand.
there's no finding, there's no facts, there's no money.
I-
They're not separately wrapped.
No, I understand, Your Honor. I'm just basically arguing, I can understand if it was a little bit over 20 grams, or even maybe a decent amount over 20 grams, that one could still argue that that amount could be for personal use. But even with 239 grams, over 10 times the felony, the line where it becomes a felony, Your Honor, I think there's probable cause. I'm not saying that he could be convicted at this point, but probable cause to believe that that amount so great is not for personal use.
Well, the state is asking the court to make an assumption. And I don't think the court can make that assumption for purposes of probable cause without any other type of evidence in this document indicating that Mr. Duarte Gonzalez intended to sell any of this marijuana. He's not caught selling any of it. There's no hand-to-hand transactions. There's no.
Okay, let me ask the state, what, does he have any priors?
I'll check, Your Honor. While I'm checking, I just want to note, I don't believe I'm asking the court to make an assumption, and there doesn't need to be evidence of a hand-to-hand transaction or any
No, I
kind of
understand, I know
delivery, because
that.
it's
I'm
possession
familiar,
with
I'm
intent.
familiar with the case law on
No,
that.
I know, I'm just making a record, Your Honor, that's all.
Okay, does he have any problem?
I'm checking that right now,
Okay.
Judge.
Mr. Gonzalez, where do you live?
Well, right now where I reside with my family, but my dad really wouldn't want me to, like, give that information because he doesn't want to be involved with the situation that's going on right now. However, I do reside in Davie, Florida at the moment.
And you'll be residing with them?
Um,
If you're released, where would you live?
If I'm released, I'm sure my family will take me in. However, I know they don't really, well, it's not that they don't want me at home. It's just both. I want to kind of, be more independent as,
Are you working?
I mean, I was until this morning when all this happened. I woke up and I was surrounded by police officers and I was taken into custody.
Don't
So,
discuss the facts of the case, sir. What the judge is trying to establish is if he considers lowering your bond or releasing you, he's going to want to know, and what he's trying to find out is where are you going to be living?
Yeah, of course, no. The thing is, as I was saying, I was working. The thing is, after this morning, I have to speak with my boss to see if she can, work with me because I was supposed to get a promotion next week and a raise.
What kind of work do you do?
We work with airlines. I manage the repair side of the department. Basically, the repairs department is managed by like me and my supervisor. But I was supposed to, take charge of that department.
You're not in school?
I already graduated. I was doing.
Are you
studying,
married?
No, sir. I was studying electrical engineering in high school.
Do you have any children?
No, sir. I was going to.
Do you own any property in Broward County?
I had a miscarriage. Property, just my vehicle.
And Your Honor, we weren't able to verify where he resided. Just like he stated to the court, he didn't want us to contact his family, or anything.
My dad is aware of what's going on, but he just doesn't want to be involved. So it's okay. I understand him. But like I said, yeah, that's pretty much it. I work with airlines. I manage repairs. I did do some college in high school. During my last year of high school, I did college full time. I graduated with, I believe, 10, 12 credits. Unfortunately, I couldn't continue college because I was going to have a baby.
Okay, hold on. Mr. Linder,
Yes, Judge.
when they say the passport, my assumption would be with the evidence with the police department, right?
I would think so.
So would I, okay. And, Mr. Gonzalez, this is what I need to know. I know your father doesn't want to be involved in this, but if you're released from jail, are you going to be living at his home? Or is he not going to let you in?
No. I'm sure he'll take me in because I'm his son, of course. But I'm sure he's gonna want me to, make my way out of there as soon as I can, which is okay, and it's what I've been planning to. Which is why I was so excited for my promotion, because I've been wanting to live on my own.
Okay, Mr. Gonzalez, okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm finding no PC on count 2, but I'm raising the bond from 1,000 to 2,000 on count 1. I'm gonna place him on pretrial release. Standard, with, I think you termed it, Patrice, confirmation of the address?
Pending verification.
Pending verification of the address. He is to be drug tested once a week. He is to report twice a month in person, and he is to report by telephone twice a week.
Your Honor, just to.
One last thing. He's to have a drug evaluation and any treatment that is necessary. And I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go right ahead.
Your Honor, I apologize. In order to do the verification, we are going to have to call the defendant's family. And I have a note in here where the defendant requested us not call anyone, so
Well,
if the court could just.
Mr. Gonzalez, they're gonna have to contact your family to confirm that you're gonna
That's
be
okay.
living.
That's okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
However, could you repeat what my consequences will be,
Well,
or what you're?
what I'm setting your bond on count 1 is $2,000. So you'll have to hire a surety or your family, or you're going to have to post the full amount. With a surety, it's $200. You're gonna be placed on pretrial release, which means that upon your release, you're gonna have to report to pretrial release. You're gonna have to report to them twice a month. You're gonna have to report to them by phone twice a week, and you're to be evaluated, have a drug evaluation once a week. And you're also, I'm sorry, a drug test once a week, and you're to have a drug evaluation and any treatment that they deem necessary pending the final resolution of this case.
And for how long would that be?
I don't know, sir.
Oh, okay, sounds good.
All right, sir, thank
Your Honor,
you.
just a moment, maybe I misunderstood. It's going to be $2,000 or pretrial,
No.
or is the court wanting to do both?
Both.
Okay, so it's bond and pretrial. I thought he was pending verification.
Yeah.
So it's bond plus pretrial.
He's gotta post a $2,000
Then be
bond.
placed on pretrial.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Excuse me, for the bond, you said I could only pay $200?
If you use a surety, that's correct.
A surety?
A bondsman.
A bondsman? Oh, I see. Okay. Cause when I was taking, my paycheck was in there too.
Okay. All right, sir, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Dimitri Janti?
He's here at main jail, Judge.
Oh, thank you, okay. Mr. Janti, I'm gonna go through this list of charges with you, okay, there's 13. You are charged with aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer. I find probable cause, and we're going to get to that in a minute regarding bond. You're also charged with possession of cannabis less than 20 grams. Your bond is $100,000, and I find probable cause. I'm sorry, $100. Did I say 100,000? $100.
Okay, so
You're also charged with possession of drug paraphernalia. I find probable cause. Your bond is $100.
okay.
You're charged
Where
with
does he
resisting
live
or
when he
obstructing without violence. I find probable cause. Your bond is $100.
What is your address, sir? Where
You're
is-
charged with fleeing and eluding a law enforcement officer at high speed. I find probable cause. You're
What's
charged
your
with
address?
aggravated fleeing with injury or property damage. I find
11
probable
what?
cause. You're charged with reckless driving. I find probable
Okay,
cause.
give
Your
me
bond
your
is
phone number.
$100. You're charged with leaving the scene of an accident with property damage.
Okay.
Your bond is $25.
If I'm calling from court.
You're charged with leaving the scene of a crash involving damage to property. I find probable cause. Your bond is $100. You're charged with failing to stop, remain in an accident involving non-serious injury. I find probable cause. You're charged with attaching a license plate and not signed to the vehicle. I do not find probable cause. I could not find that in the probable cause affidavit. You're charged with driving while license suspended, a third is subsequent offense. Your bond is $750. I find probable cause. You also have an outstanding capias issued by a judge for driving while license suspended with a bond of $1,000. So, going back to the aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer, which was the motor vehicle, I will hear bond on that, on the fleeing, eluding, the aggravated fleeing, and the failing to stop or remain of an accident involving non-serious injury. State?
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, first off, I feel Mr. Jinky remaining as poses a danger to the community, Your Honor, based on the allegations in this case. He's not even supposed to be behind the wheel of a vehicle to begin with. Police and law enforcement could potentially put the public in harm's way based on his driving pattern on the roads, then almost striking a police officer with the vehicle while trying to flee from law enforcement. Additionally, Your Honor, I believe Mr. Jinky poses a flight risk, obviously based on these allegations, but also considering, as you see on count 13, he has a warrant for failing to appear in court on a DWS in Broward. He also has a $3,500 warrant out of Dade County for failing to appear in court for for DWS. And lastly, based on his driving record and the open cases, Mr. Ginty continues to get behind the wheel and drive when he's not supposed to. Also noting, Your Honor, I see a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. His license has been suspended 6 times in the past for failing to appear in court.
So tell me about the bond that you're,
Your Honor, the state would be requesting a $15,000 bond on count 1, $5,000 each on 5 and 6, 10, 1,000. Should he post the bonds, pretrial release with a GPS monitor?
Mr. Romero, do you want to be heard on bond?
Yes, Judge. And speaking, Mr. Gianti, he's been residing in South Florida his whole life. He's 30 years old. He is currently working. He works at a gas station as a clerk and attendant. He's been working there for about 2 months, making minimum wage, about $8.05 an hour. Financially, he tells me he has no money in the bank, no property. He lives in Hollywood. He lives by himself. Basically, his whole paycheck goes to pay towards his rent, which is $900 a month. He's leasing those premises, been living there for about 3 years. He does have family that lives in our community, specifically his brother. He's going to be contacting to post his bond, and he's a school teacher, so he doesn't get paid awfully much. What he's asking judges for you to consider on count 1, count 5, count 6, and count 10, $500 each. That would be a total with the other included would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $4,300 bond for Mr. Gianti's behalf. Judge, besides that, we'd be also asking you to sign a photo order.
I will grant the motion for the photo order. On count 1, I'm setting a $10,000 bond. Count 5 and 6, $1,000 apiece, and on count 10, $1,000. If he is to meet the bond, he is to be placed on level 1 pretrial release with a monitor, a GPS, I'm sorry. All right, thank you.
Your Honor, and that would be placing him on pretrial, only on counts 1 through 12, 13 is a KPS, so just 1
That
through
is correct.
12. And just so the court knows, I did speak with Mr. Duarte's dad, and he's okay for him to return.
Okay, great, thank you very much. Charles Cole,
Medical reset, Judge.
this is the gentleman that I had, was talking about yesterday.
Yes, so
Let me just, I know he's not here, but let me ask you, has anybody from the PD's office had a chance to talk with him?
I have, Judge.
Have you, can you tell me what your impression is and?
I can't get specific. It would be invading the attorney-client privilege, but I can tell you there are concerns, and our office is making the appropriate steps to take to look into those issues.
Okay.
Actually, had a representative. I spoke to him yesterday, had an interview, and another representative went to actually see him today at the jail. I'm going to go and find out what was actually what that person found out today as well.
Excellent, very good. That's what I needed.
It's going to be reset for tomorrow, correct? Because I want to definitely address the $100,000 bond.
Absolutely. Why don't I set it in the afternoon so we have more time? Okay.
Judge.
So on Charles Cole, we'll reset that for tomorrow afternoon. And then we have Tyler Holler.
Mr. Holler is here present, Judge?
Did we already, Mr. Holler, did you already appear before me?
He did. He was actually reset from yesterday. He's the
And
gentleman.
why did we reset? Does anybody remember?
I do, and I'll let you know, Judge. He was the gentleman from New York. He came down here for treatment. He was at
Yes.
Serenity Ranch. You imposed a $1,000 bond on count 2, $150 on count 1. He had no financial means of posting a bond. You gave me the opportunity to contact the program to see if they would be willing to accept them. I spoke with the representative from the program. They said they're willing to accept them, and actually, as the officer of the court, I have to tell you everything that they told me, Judge. They're actually going to go ahead and post his bond.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Holler, they're going to post your bond for you, okay? All right, so let's go to the let me see, what are these called?
Second look here. The misdemeanors?
Yeah, there's, oh, second look, okay, I got the right page. This is Mr. Holler? Okay. And what about Joel Hayward?
North Broward, Judge.
Mr. Hayward? North Broward, is Mr. Hayward there?
He's approaching, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hayward, good afternoon, sir. You're here charged with battery. And what was the original bond that we?
Your Honor, Judge Benson set Mr. Hayward's bond at $1,000 last Friday. I'm asking that the court keep that bond in place, let Mr. Hayward's case proceed to division. Your Honor, I can tell you, I read the probable cause affidavit this afternoon. The allegation is that Mr. Hayward approached the victim, I believe it was at a Valrico gas station, punched him more than once in his face, causing the alleged victim to drop his phone. While he was trying to pick up his phone, Mr. Hayward proceeded to kick him in the face. Mr. Hayward has a history of violence. In 2013, he was arrested for an aggravated battery that was dropped. In 2012, he had aggravated assault, a deadly weapon, battery, and armed trespass. In 2009, he was convicted of 2 counts of battery. In 2008, he had an arrest for aggravated assault that was dropped. Actually, twice in 2008, he had arrests for aggravated assault that were dropped.
Okay. Mr. Hayward, I'm gonna leave your bond at $1,000.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Thank you. Paul Ridley?
Conti?
Mr. Ridley, you're here for us to review your bond. You're charged with a first-degree petty theft. And what is his bond?
His bond is $100, Your Honor. I'm just checking to see what the allegations are.
Okay. Mr. Ridley, if you're released, do you have someplace to live?
No, I'm homeless.
You've been in custody for 5 days?
Yes.
The allegations are that he just seeing if the property was recovered, Your Honor. It does appear this was at a Target on Commercial Boulevard in Lauderhill. It alleges that Mr. Ridley took a container of baby wipes, a pack of Twizzlers, a tube of Crest toothpaste, a bottle of Listerine mouthwash, and an Oral-B toothbrush in a knapsack. He walked, passing all points of sale, making no effort to pay for the items. He was apprehended by a loss prevention officer as he was exiting the store and escorted back to the security office.
Mr. Ridley, would you like to try to resolve this case today?
Yes, sir.
What I would do if you wanted to waive your right to an attorney in the trial, I would adjudicate you guilty. It is a first-degree misdemeanor. And I would sentence you to 5 days in the Broward County Jail with credit for the 5 days you've already served. Also, I would order that you would have to pay court costs of $293, and I'll give you some time to pay that.
Okay.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
Do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes, sir.
What is your name and date of birth?
Paul Lawrence Ridley, 10/24/91.
Mr. Ridley, is it your desire to waive your right to an attorney in the trial and resolve this case today?
Yes, sir.
Is anybody forcing you to do this?
No, sir.
Are you under the influence of any kind of drugs or alcohol today?
No, sir.
Ever been treated for a mental illness?
No.
And do you understand you're waiving your right both to an attorney and a trial on this case?
Yes.
Are you pleading no contest to the commission of 1 count of petty theft, a first-degree misdemeanor, on October 20th, 2017?
Yes.
The court's gonna accept your plea, find that it's freely and voluntarily given. The court's gonna adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 5 days in the Broward County Jail with credit for 5 days' time served, order court costs of $293, and I'm gonna give you 6 months to pay that, okay?
Okay.
All right, sir, thank you. Luke Carmichael?
Mr. Carmichael, to the present judge of Maine?
Your Honor,
Are you Mr. Carmichael?
Yes, he's here.
Are you Mr. Carmichael?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Carmichael, you're here for us to review your bond. You're charged with resisting or obstructing without violence.
Mr. Carmichael is being held on a $100 bond. Judge Malika kept his bond at $100 over the weekend. The state is going to be requesting one of two things. The state would offer adjudication 30 days in Broward County Jail, and I'll explain why in just a moment, or let the case go to its division. Your Honor, Mr. Carmichael keeps coming through here constantly. Your Honor, I spoke with, while this involves a resisting without violence, Your Honor, I spoke with the arresting officer, Deputy Amaya yesterday. What led to this, do you have a copy of the probable cause affidavit? I can tell you right now, there's not much detail in the probable cause affidavit. That's specifically why I reached out to Deputy Amaya, because I wanted him to inform me what was going on here.
Okay. And what did he say?
Your Honor, he advised me that they had gotten a call from the manager / owner of a Mexican food market across the street from where he was arrested, advising me that there was a gentleman trespassing there, harassing her customers. By the time police got there, Mr. Carmichael was no longer there, so they left. They got a call shortly thereafter informing the man was back, harassing their customers again. When they got back, they were told he just went across the street. They recognized Mr. Carmichael from past experiences with him. They wanted to speak to him. From what Deputy Amaya told me to tell him, look, Luke, you can't go by there anymore. To confirm that if there has been a trespass warning, and to advise him he can't go there and he has to leave the business alone. As they're approaching him, he ignores their commands, he starts to take off. They try to stop him to speak to him. Then the struggling ensues. Your Honor, I was advised that the officers had body cameras on during the incident as well. Your Honor, Mr. Carmichael, just to give you his recent history, his last arrest was October 8th, and that was for resisting without and trespass. He got a jail sentence and he was released Monday, October 16th. Before that, he was arrested August 27th for trespass, resisting without violence. He was in custody till September 29th, so after another week he got arrested again. Before that, July 31st, trespass. He pled that out, was released August 4th. July 24th, trespass. He got time served at his first appearance. July 11th, trespass. County sentenced, he was released July 19th. June 2nd, criminal mischief, he ended up being ROR July 2nd. April 13th, exposure and a parole violation. The exposure was dropped. Then it goes back to June 10th. Your Honor, and I'm here for the second looks.
Let me ask some questions, sir. Mr. Carmichael, let me ask you, do you have a drug or alcohol problem that you feel could be treated?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry?
Yes, sir.
What is it, alcohol or drugs or both?
Alcohol and both, really. Everything, really.
Do you have a place to live or are you homeless?
My grandma's 1701 Northeast 41st Street. My mom stays in Boynton, too.
Do you live with them or do you live on the street?
I live on the streets.
Okay.
What are you saying? He said, address. But I do have a place to go, and I was gonna go to 12-step sober house. My mom's like flipping out on me and stuff like that. She's like, she can't believe all these trespasses and everything. She's kind of pissed off at me too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. Mr. Carmichael, let me ask you something. What I can do is sentence you, if you would like, to 60 days in the Broward County Jail, but hear me out if you want to resolve it today. I can order that you be sent to the SAP program at the Conte facility, that upon completion, successful completion of the SAP program, you be released immediately and the remainder of your time be terminated. Would you be interested in something like that to try to start you on a road to recovery so you're not coming in and out of the jail, in and out of the jail, living on the streets. It's up to you,
Yes, I would, so I would be interested in that.
okay? All right.
Judge, can I say a couple things on the record, because I know the state put a lot of things of what the officer said on the record as well.
Well, let me ask you, Mr. Romero, what is the need of putting something on the record? If I've talked to the defendant and the defendant wants to do this, what are we putting on the record? What for?
Judge, I just want to make sure he knows what he's doing and that there's no longer going to be a trial.
Well, I'm gonna have to go through that whole plea colloquy with him, absolutely. But if you want a moment to talk with him, go ahead. You're more than welcome to.
Judge, I just want to be fair. You had the state given them the opportunity to go into the facts of the case.
Go ahead, Mr. Romero. Go right
say.
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Mr. Carmichael, you understand the judge is offering you to resolve the case today, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And by you resolving the case, there's no longer going to be a trial on this case.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're basically not gonna have your day in court.
Okay.
Okay, you're not gonna have an opportunity to have your lawyer cross-examine this, police officer.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, from what you told me, you said basically almost all those injuries that appear on the left side of your face, all over your arms, those bruises and everything like that was a result of the police officers. You're saying that at this time, what you wanna do is just resolve this case and plead no contest, is that what you're telling me?
Yes, sir.
That's all I wanted to put on the record, Judge.
Okay? Mr. Carmichael, do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes, sir.
Could you give us your name and your date of birth, please?
Luke, Luke, Matthew, Mathew, Carmichael, Carmichael, 9/16/86.
Mr. Carmichael, it's my understanding that you would like to resolve this case today and enter the SAP program after speaking with me. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand, as counsel has informed you, that you're going to be waiving your right to a trial where the state would have to bring in its witnesses and prove the allegations beyond a reasonable doubt, and that you could testify or not testify or put on any witnesses you would like to, and that you're also waiving your right to an attorney, and that if you could not afford an attorney, I would appoint the public defender if you qualified. Do you understand all that?
Yes, sir. Now, sir, what I'll be doing is I'll be doing the 30 days in the SAP program, and I will be released.
Here's what I'm going to do. If you want to resolve it, I'm going to adjudicate you guilty of the resisting or obstructing without violence. It's a first-degree misdemeanor. It's not a felony. I would sentence you to 60 days in the Broward County Jail, okay? The maximum penalty for this offense is 364 days in the Broward County Jail. But I'm going to put the provision in, I'm going to order that you be entered into the SAP program at the Conte facility. And that upon successful completion of the SAP program, that you be immediately released. The SAP program is 30 days, that is correct.
Thank you very much, sir.
Is that what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is anybody forcing you to do this?
No, sir.
Are you under the influence of any kind of drugs or alcohol today?
No, sir. I believe it would be the best thing for me, to be honest with you.
Well, I hope so. I hope it'll help you recover and get you back to a normal life. Have you ever been treated for a mental illness?
I haven't been treated, but I got dual diagnosis.
Do you presently take medication?
No, I haven't started on it yet.
Have you taken any medication today or yesterday?
No, sir. Besides
The fact that you suffer from this illness and that you are supposed to be on medication, is it preventing you from understanding what we're doing today?
No, sir.
All right, and are you pleading no contest to the offense of resisting or obstructing without violence on 10/20/2017?
Yes, sir.
The court's going to accept your plea, find that it's freely and voluntarily given. The court's going to adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 60 days in the Broward County Jail. I'm going to order that you be entered into and complete the SAP program, SAP program at the Conte facility. I'm going to order that I have to order that you pay court costs of $293. I'm going to give you a year to pay that. And I'm also going to order that upon successful completion of the SAP program, the remainder of your jail time be terminated and that you be immediately released.
Thank you very much, sir.
I hope it helps you, sir. I hope you can get your life in order.
Will I be able to get into the SAP program as soon as possible?
As soon as possible, yes. We have people here in the room here with us that are from the Broward County Jail.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck, Luke.
Okay, and we also have the RORs, right?
Yeah, just,
2.
yeah,
And state, what is the status of Norman Singletary?
it has not been filed. He's entitled to ROR.
Is Norman Singletary there?
North Broad, sir.
Mr. Singletary, I am releasing you on your own recognizance on counts 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Your Honor,
Phil-
he's also in custody on another case, so he has a bond attached to that case of $1,000, so he won't be released unless
Stand right here.
Mr. Singletary,
Yes, sir.
I was just informed you have another case that's not before me that you have a $1,000 bond on. You
Yes,
will-
sir.
You will not be released until you post that $1,000 bond.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
And Philmon Bell,
Confi?
And,
how are we doing on that one?
state filed information, Your Honor.
Mr. Bell, you are here for an update on the burglary of an occupied dwelling and petty theft. It's my understanding that the state has filed an information on that case. Okay? Thank you, sir.
Your Honor, we have one more person.
Okay, who's that?
It's probably Brian.
Antonio Brown?
Yeah, he didn't, Your Honor, he wasn't put on the docket. The Public Defender's Office filed a motion to release on his misdemeanor domestic violence. I advised Mr. Reedy, the state has filed an information, it is updated in Odyssey.
And his name is Brown?
Antonio Brown.
Mr. Brown,
Yes, sir.
to update your case on the domestic violence, the state has filed an information on your case, all right? So it is pending. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Is there anything else? Okay, so we're off the record.